Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Black Gamer. This is Jacob Cass 2024. Gonna do my WWE live stream. We're gonna do my review on Saturday Night Main Event. We're gonna talk about uh, NXT Great American Bash. We will talk about WWE Evolution, and then we'll talk a little bit about AEW All In. We got a lot to go through. I gotta go through 4 pay-per-views, but I think the most two we're gonna talk about is Saturday Night Main Event and Evolution. It's just went off the air right now. We got a lot to talk about. Just want to say, hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the like. Thank you for all the support. Um, this is Jacob Cat 2024. I think the live stream can be like an hour and 15 minutes. We'll see how long the video is. Um, got a lot to talk about. We're gonna go through all the matches. Now I'm playing this on WWE 2K25, so I couldn't get like all the superstars because I don't think they're on the game. But here are some of the matches. Now Goldberg's not on the game. I had to use someone else to take his spot. Now we will go into Saturday Night Main Event. We got a lot of matches here, a lot to talk about. I just want to say, you know, I, I just came from a birthday party, my cousin's birthday party, Lawan. Shout out to Lawan if you're watching. Uh, I hope you had it was nice seeing you again, and hope you had a fun birthday party. Um, I hope you enjoy the video. They go to all my cousins, all my friends out there, my new subscribers, and some other podcasts I know of. We got Fightful Pro Wrestling, Post Wrestling, JD from New York, Salamat the Sound Off, and Good My Work Commentary, Just Alex, and other podcasters and the IWC that I know about. Now, hold on for a second. Hold on. Actually, wait a minute. As I go through this pay-per-view, hold on. Just want to make sure this is live so I can upload this. Now we can go to the pay-per-view. Hold on. Now, a lot of people are talking about it. The post-show of Evolution, we got the press conference that's also on right now. We got Chris the Miracle. The Evolution pay-per-view, second all-woman PLE, one of the greatest PLE of the last 5 years, greatest massive storyline, the woman performed. It was a great show. I wish I could say about Saturday Main Event, it wasn't that good. AEW All In was a great show. NXT Battle Great American Bash last night, it wasn't that good, it was whatever. But Evolution was great. Alright, now let's go into this Evolution. Actually, no, hold on. Now, before we talk about WWE Evolution and all the matches and the shock ending with Naomi Cassin, I actually want to get into Saturday Night Main Event. Well, actually, wait. I might able to get this one over with because, like I said, there's like 4 pay-per-views, a lot of wrestling. 4 pay-per-views are crazy. Alright, so let me do NXT Great American Bash. I think it was about 3 hours long. Pay-per-view wasn't that good. It was alright for it was. I only saw some of it. We got Javon Evans, Ethan Page, and Ricky Saint. Ethan Page retained the North American title. He drove Ricky Saint off the stage. We had the Dark Gate. They got involved. They attacked Chuck Williams and Joe Hendry. The main event, I think it was the woman, it was Blake Monroe, and it was, hold on, It was Blake Monroe and Jordan Gray versus Fatal and Influence. Who won this match again? I think it was Blake Monroe and Jordan Gray that won. Obi Femi retained its NXT title. Yeah. Alright, so NXT Battleground wasn't that great. It was whatever, the show sucked. I didn't really watch it because I had no interest in it. NXT's not that good. Obi retained the NXT title. Well, it wasn't your show, but that was NXT Great American Bash. Alright, now let's go into WWE Saturday Night Main Event. Saturday Night Main Event sucked. These shows suck. It wasn't a good show. It was 2 hours, so many commercial breaks. I think the only match that I actually enjoyed was Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso for the U.S. Championship. Solo Sikoa did retain. We got the return of Jacob Fatu. They teased him and Talo Tonga, aka Hikuleo. I'm kind of over the Bloodline storyline, but it's all progressed. Jacob Fatu went back the belt from Solo. The match was alright. It was whatever. The opener of the pay-per-view was Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. And Randy Orton got the victory with the help of Jelly Roll. They just announced a tag team match at SummerSlam. Now, SummerSlam is 2 nights in Detroit. We got Jelly Roll and Randy Orton versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Now, I got a big problem with that. I don't know who Jelly Roll is. I don't know why he's in the match. I hope he's good in the ring. I hate when you involve celebrities and big matches like this. And having your big star like Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, even Logan Paul, I know he gets a lot of heat, but he's a big star. He's fantastic in the ring, but to be in a tag team match, then way too good for that. It's just to sell out tickets and get people on the card, because I got no plan for Drew and Randy, even though they should be in a title match, but what do I know? Jelly Roll actually punched Logan Paul after the match was over. So it looks like maybe Logan Paul might pin Jelly Roll, or Jelly Roll might pin Logan, I don't know. Probably because they want Logan Paul on SummerSlam. He's a big name. Now we did get Naomi and Jade fight. I think Naomi came from the crowd. She brawled with Jade, and then Bianca came out. Well, actually, Nick Aldis announced that Bianca was the referee in the match for Evolution. We will get into that. Just hold on. Yeah. So there was a birthday segment with Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Now, the other two big things for Saturday Night Main Event, we got LA Knight versus Seth Rollins. A very good match. Unfortunately, shockingly, Seth Rollins got hurt. He has a legit injury. It's not a work. This is legit. It wasn't planned. They made a call inaudible, and that's why LA Knight beat Seth Rollins with the BFT. Seth Rollins is one of your big stars, is one of your biggest storylines. He's leading the fast lane with Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, and he got hurt. He went down hard, and I saw the replay over and over. According to WrestleVotes and other podcasters like JD, Seth Rollins has a serious injury. He might be out for most of this year. He still has the briefcase. We don't know if he's going to get stripped or if they're going to put on the line and give him to someone else, maybe Braun Breaker. But Seth Rollins had a serious injury. They were playing factor going into SummerSlam with him and Roman and Punk and if you're catching on Gunther. Seth Rollins is legit injured. I feel bad for him. He's a great wrestler. Even though I haven't been digging this like him being the leader of his new faction, it still doesn't have a name, but Seth Rollins is hurt. We'll have to see what happens on Monday Night Raw. It will be on TV, but he just won't be wrestling. We'll have to wait and see how bad it is. Now, as for the main event, that was the big match. We had Goldberg's retirement match, his last match in the company. He got that big farewell after 28 years against Gunther. The match wasn't that good. The match was 16 minutes. Who asked for a 16-minute match with Bill Goldberg at 58 years old to give him one of the best, and Gunther, who's your world champion? The match was whatever. Gunther won as we all expected. Now Goldberg, after the match was over, and he had his friends, his family, his wife and son, Michael Cole was in the ring, a couple of WCW guys, a couple of wrestlers, even Diamond Dallas Page, and then they cut Goldberg's retirement. They cut Goldberg's promo. If you watch that next main event, now obviously that next main event is 2 hours on NBC Universal. They had to cut Goldberg like promo like 90 seconds. I don't know why. It showed you how awful WWE is. It showed you whether it's NBC Universal, whether it's someone in the board of directors or WWE. But Jesus Christ, man, these shows on Saturday Main Event have got to go. These shows are useless. They're worthless. They might have been the worst. This show was awful. I don't know what it is, but this show was awful. Alright. Hold on. Now, might will just do the simulation. So Sikoa won, he retained the US title. Randy Orton won with the help of Jelly Roll, and now they're doing the tag team match at SummerSlam. LA Knight won because Seth got hurt, they called an audible. Gunther retained to beat Goldberg for the World Heavyweight title. Now we can go into Evolution. Now they don't have Trish Stratus as you someone else, as you Natalia. Alright. Now let's go into the Women's Evolution. The opener was great. I thought we got a very good triple threat match with Becky Lynch, Lyra, and Bayley for the Women's Intercontinental title. It was a great match. Becky Lynch got the victory. See, she got the roll up. I think she pinned, I believe she pinned Lyra. So I think her and Bayley gonna continue, probably going into SummerSlam. That's what I think gonna happen. It was a great match, a fantastic match. I loved the match, loved the ending. We had Blake Monroe assault Jordan Grace during the title match with JC Jane, and that would cost Jordan Grace the title. So we got Blake Monroe and JC Jane. She held JC Jane, so I guess Blake Monroe is now a heel. That was the big shot. She turned heel. I thought Jordan Grace and Jesse Green would map up very good. They were decent. We had a shock heel turn from Blake Monroe. That got people talking. Alright, now let's go into the WWE Women's Fatal 4-Way for the Women's Tag Team Champion with Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez of Judgment Day defending their titles against the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka. And I think it was, who was it again? I forgot the other name. It was a team from NXT, but I forgot. Match was alright. It was a very good match. It was decent. Let's see who won this match. Oh wait, it's not even showing. Obviously, Judgment Day retained. Roxanne and Raquel Rodriguez retained their titles as expected. Alright, now let's get into Tiffany Stratton defending her Women's Championship against Trish Stratus. Obviously, Tiffany Stratton retained a very good match. The match was fine. It was decent. Tiffany got the win. We don't know what's going on with Tiffany Stratton. I thought, obviously, she's going to face Jade at SummerSlam. But I wonder what can happen there. So, she beat Trish. Trish got that proper send-off. They gave her a nice ovation here. Again. Now, this is only a one-off. It was only thrown together just to fill time for this show and give Tiffany something to do. Because this is an all-woman pay-per-view. You gotta get all women on the show. Now, Trish Stratus, hopefully she goes away for a while. It was only a one-off. That's why the match was thrown together to fill time for this show and it be AEW for me. I thought Trish and Tiffany was alright. It was very good. Tiffany gonna go into SummerSlam defend against Jade Cargill, and Trish Stratus will go away for a bit. Now we can go into Naomi and Jade Cargill for the in the no hold barred match with Bianca as the referee. And look what happened here. Oh, through a table. Jade beat Naomi. We didn't get a heel turn from Bianca, so I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, we got the Battle Royal. Stephanie Valkyrie wins the Battle Royal to earn the opportunity. Is he gonna face Tiffany or is he gonna face Naomi? I'm not sure what makes sense. We're not even sure what's gonna happen. So it came down to is he doing that move? So it came down to Stephanie and Last Legend in the final one-on-one. She eliminated Last Legend, won the Battle Royal.
And I have to ask you, and please bear with me, I'm going to try to ask you in Spanish.
Hold on.
¿Qué significa esta victoria para ti? Y voy a seguir dominando. This is difficult for me. English is not my first language. But wrestling is my first language. We can make history. Thank you, every woman made the way for tonight. Evolution is a big show, and this experience in my career is amazing.
Did she announce who she's facing?
And I promise, I will keep working hard because I promise you will remember my name forever. Now we can make history. And every woman be fighting. Wrestling is my favorite.
I don't think she announced who she faced. Now she's gonna get her title shot at Clash in Paris. Whether it's gonna be Naomi, well, definitely Valkyrie's on Raw, so it has to be against Naomi. Now, is he gonna win because Naomi just won the belt? Or is he gonna face Trish Stratus? Because what is Trish Stratus doing? That means definitely got to be on SmackDown. See, I don't know. Nothing here making sense. Kind of very confusing. We don't know where WWE's gonna go with. Very confusing here. So Jay got the victory there. Becky Lynch retained in a fantastic triple threat match. Oh wait, hold on. I can announce the cast-in. Wait, that on the Women's Championship? Oh yeah, I forgot, cause on the, well, that's the Women's Championship, not the World Championship, so I might have to change that. Yeah, cause Naomi cashed in and made it a triple threat match, and she pinned Io Sky. She didn't pin Rhea. I don't know what that said about Io Sky. Io Sky didn't really do anything with the titles in WrestleMania. She came like an afterthought. She was not TV that much. they gave her Rhea to have her on the pay-per-view, and Naomi with the shock victory. Now we will know if she's gonna face Stephanie or if we are gonna get a rematch or Io gonna get a rematch. We honestly don't know. We don't know where WWE plans are going here. Alright. Alright, I might well go into some of the other podcasters on here. Might well go into Fight for Wrestling. It's been like 20 minutes here. Might well go into some of the podcasters. Let's go into Fight for Pro Wrestling.
I'm Ju. I'm the co-founder and CEO.
Now let's see the reaction from everyone else first.
I was living in Korea. Well, we got so I cannot be mad at there being no bills because they don't control that. You know what I mean? My only complaint was that there was no femme commentary at all. That was my only complaint. I think that given the cards that they were dealt, they made the best they could.
Now let's go into no DQ here.
Ripley for the women's world title. Now before I get to that, we did have some people at ringside. Some of the legends were there. Vicky Guerrero, she even said excuse me on the mic. We had Melina, who was out there. Jacqueline, who was on the pre-show, and she was entertaining. Alundra Blaze was there. We had a couple others. So that was cool to see some of them. Kelly turned it down. More on that at odq.com if you want to know the story on that. Anyways, Rhea versus Io Sky. They had a feeling out process in the beginning, and then Rhea said she respected Io, but she wanted to fight, so they turned up the intensity, and it was a very competitive match. Back and forth with these two.
Oh, and look, all the post wrestling.
Work, but somehow he actually got injured. That is also a very valid possibility as well. Yeah, I mean, listen, if anyone wants to question me, like that's perfectly fine. But the question I would have that I can't answer is then how was I told this on Thursday? Like this is someone that would absolutely have knowledge of this.
All right, let's go into the post show. Now this is the press conference for Evolution.
Can't escape the doom scroll. In a shocking turn of events here in Atlanta, all of this Triple H.
Now people are leaving. I'm happy to see Big E. He's back on the he back in the pre-show panel. So we got Stephanie. She talking in the press conference. We got Trish Stratus here. We got Joe Cronin. He gonna do his review.
That's pretty funny. Oh, he's trying to get out. He's like, oh, let me get out of here.
I would definitely introduce some basics of it. Definitely the 30-day, you must defend the championship in 30 days. I would also stop this window, the transfer window. The transfer window I just thought was stupid. Just do a fucking draft every year, do trades, and make it a little bit more meaningful.
We just saying the best for last. The sequel delivers one of the best WWE shows in 2025, and I agree. It was a great show. I'm glad that it was much better than NXT, Great American Bash, or better than Saturday Night Main Event. AEW, I don't know about that. Had to debate on that. Alright, okay. Alright. Hold on. Now go into the other podcasters here. Going to watch Denise House.
Couple of super chats. Is good stuff. Wait, is she gonna actually successfully cash in? I don't think. Wait, no, partnering up with Bianca, with Jade, and then that led to the turn on Jade Cargill, throwing her into a car windshield, and now this whole new psychopathic character that landed her this championship spot. So when you really think about the last 3-5 years of Naomi's career, let's talk about some ups and some downs, but at the end of the day, she found the thing that worked for her, and now she is a champion. So I just want to start off by saying, congrats, Naomi girl. You freaking did it. She's a star, and she closed out this very, very important night. Now, before I continue on with breaking down the rest of the show, I want to say three real big things. The three real big things that I want to be the summary of this review. The three big things is, one, that crowd tonight, please, give them some flowers. I loved this crowd because they legitimately were fans of what they were seeing. They came through from the very moments that we saw the opening match when the bell rung. From the second the match started, they were hot, they were on fire, and they kept the energy all the way through. And when you see that type of stuff, the wrestlers feed off of it, everybody feeds off of it. The people watching at home, everyone feeds off of that great energy. So shout out to the fans. I want to shout them out for doing a hell of a job as a great crowd. Two, every single match hit today. Every single match. This was the best WWE pay-per-view PLE this weekend, alright? It beat out Saturday night's main event, and it beat out NXT Great American Bash. Evolution killed it. Every match killed it, okay? And we're going to break those down even further. The third thing that I want to say that is most important is based off, in my opinion, based off of what we saw here today, every match killing it, a crazy cool crowd, no freaking darkened lights, none of that crap, no. Now, moving forward, I want to see Evolution every year. And I don't know if I'm alone on this. If I'm alone on this, let me know. If you're with me, let me know. But I want to see Evolution now as a yearly thing. It's a really, really nice focus on the women, and I loved it. Okay, I loved Evolution today. So I just want to make sure that that's where we're at right now. Now, if we do get Evolution every year, let's just make sure that our build to Evolution stays strong, and that way we can even appreciate the show even more. So those are the first three things that I need to say before we get into the actual review of this show. All right, there's a lot, and I'm seeing the super chats are rolling in. People got a lot of things to say. So let's get to it. Let's kick things off with Infamous Raider Loco, who says, so she has a short reign and loses to Rhea at SummerSlam and still gets Rhea and Stephanie. If it's not Stephanie versus Naomi, she still loses to Stephanie. All right, so Infamous Raider Loco is kind of breaking down a little bit of where we're headed because we got so many shows happening, all right? So we got SummerSlam at the top of August, which is really just in about 4 weeks or less. Yeah, like 4 weeks, I think. And then, 2 weeks after that, we got Clash in Paris. So, as we all know, Jade Cargill, she won the Queen of the Ring, and I originally thought that Jade had a choice with who she might pick, but everybody on the chat was telling me that she does not have a choice, so it looks like she still is going to be facing Tiffany Stratton, which should be great too, right? But then, now you have Naomi, who has the Raw Championship belt, so now it looks like she's going to be over on the Raw side. And so then you got Stephanie McCare, who we're going to talk more about later, but Stephanie, she was the winner of the Battle Royal today. So she earned herself a title shot, but her title shot is now not until Clash in Paris. So that is following after SummerSlam. So I still don't know what but they're booking for a lot of shows right now.
Yeah, it's very, very confusing.
A lot going on. We got Uncle Donk here who says, my bad, I already read this one, I'm sorry. We got Larice Johnson here who says, I'm so happy for Naomi. She deserved it. Larice, I'm with you. I think she deserved it too.
Well, that could be a swerve. I mean, well, she didn't beat Naomi. Bianca didn't turn heel. She didn't do anything. She played it well at the referee, and she counted the 1, 2, 3. Jay won. Now, unless they have Jay change their mind, I mean, Jay doesn't have to face Tiffany. She can face the other champion, and they can do a rematch. Even though we just saw the match, by the time going for the title, maybe then we'll get the heel turn from Bianca. And if we do that at SummerSlam, we can do Stephanie and Trish Stratus. I mean, Tiffany Stratton. I don't know. We don't know what's going on. Very, very confusing. I actually like that. I actually like that they gave it a swerve. Because there's so many things where they can go here with these storylines.
That this woman in the last couple of years has gone through a lot. She literally went from a point where she thought she probably was never going to be in WWE again. And, she was upset. And then, shit happens. And she found herself back in the company. And this whole new character persona change ended up being the thing for her that took her to this point where she's at now. David Primero, thank you so much for this awesome, awesome super chat. Very kind of you. David says, Evolution saved WWE this weekend. So does it mean Naomi versus Jade for Crown Jewel and Perf? BTW, I salute you, Denise, for doing this long hour paper PLE this weekend. Evolution, hashtag Naomi time. Dude, I forgot about Crown Jewel. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't even remember when Crown Jewel is, alright? I'm thinking SummerSlam, I'm thinking SummerSlam, I'm thinking Clash in Paris, Crown Jewel, I don't even know what date that is. Hold on, let me double check this. That would look like a goof. Sorry guys, there's a lot of dates that we gotta remember around here. Alright, that's till October. Alright, I ain't even gonna think about that show right now. That is just way too far down the line. But it could happen depending on what happens following SummerSlam and what. I think that they would mix both nights like they normally do. That's just my thought process. Thank you, Rahul. We got CJ here says Royal Rumble, thumbs down, elimination. It was like a zillion bucks. Nia Jax was in the final 3, and the Lash Legends literally lifted up Nia Jax, which she looked very cool. I thought they did a really.
I'm so pissed off at all of you. Why has no one told me about Wheat Torch? And all it takes is a 1.8 million BTU propane torch. I've been avoiding.
Now let's see the other podcasters who are doing their reviews on wrestling. We have Weezy Blonde.
Steve Coonan for helping us to be here and making this all possible. So, incredible few days. Want to mention Bill Goldberg first. In an incredible moment last night, I thought, capping off a remarkable career. I'm glad that Bill was able to have that sort of, if that's what it is for him, for a closure moment and sort of have the last match. At 58 years old, just still bringing an incredible
So, as you guys can hear, Triple H is still in the press conference speaking.
Intensity.
Interesting that we're talking about Bill after an all-women's pay-per-view.
And I was happy that he
First
was
thing
able
he
to be
mentions
there
is
with
Bill.
his family and his friends and just support him and see him close out an incredible career. And, of course, Gunther just taking it to another level always. Just another great match from him. Let's talk about Evolution. Just what a night.
There you go.
Incredible. Start to finish. There was, I wonder, it was 6 or 7 years since the first Evolution. I don't know, you guys know.
7.
Whatever that is. 2018. Yeah, see, you were wrong, dude. Yeah. Don't argue with the woman.
Alright, let's go in.
And this was a really awesome show. I'm going to give it an A+.
Alright, let's go into the other podcasters that I know of. We got JD from New York. We got Jason Salawater. We got Greg from Good My Work Commentary. I'm gonna let you guys hear from them.
I can't give it any less than an A+. Not an A, not an A-, an A fucking plus.
Yeah.
It was tremendous. Every show was great, and they hit us with the major surprise at the end of the show, having Naomi cash in and win the World Heavyweight or the World Championship for the women, and she's now going to be on the Raw brand. And I guess I should have seen that coming, because earlier on in the night we had the no holds barred match between Jade and Naomi, and I'm still operating like my thought process is still operating as if Jade and Naomi are going to have something to do with each other at SummerSlam. Jade has got the title shot against Tiffany, and since Jade won at WrestleMania and then won the no-holds-barred match here, which essentially turned out to be the blow-off, I thought that those two wins was going to result in Naomi getting sweet golden payback from Jade at SummerSlam, but it was actually the opposite. That no-holds-barred match was the blow-off. That was to wrap up her business with Jade, and Naomi is now heading off to Raw. So it sounds like it's going to be Jade and Bianca, mostly probably with them, as Bianca was the special guest referee tonight. A lot of looks between her and Jade. I feel like it's going to be Bianca and Jade. That might be your title program, or perhaps even your WrestleMania match if Jade wins the title and holds the belt that long. It'll be hard to fathom that, but they might actually do that. So that was a shocking turn of events there in the main event that I have to say I did not see coming and I did not predict. Speaking of predictions, I had a terrible performance yesterday between the two shows, All In and Saturday Night's Main Event. I went 5-8, 5 matches right, 8 matches wrong. I started like 0-5 or 0-6 or something for All In to start the day. Finished the day at 5-8. I think I went 3 for 9 on All In and 2 for 4 on Saturday Night's Main Event. However, here I was nearly perfect. I was convinced I was going to be perfect. Earlier on, I even had Rhea Ripley with the championship on this overlay here. I had to make a last-minute change.
All right, let's see Solomon out there.
Some of the wrong reasons. That if this show ends up not meeting certain... This was the capper to that weekend. And I've been saying it now for a few weeks, because there was a lot of effort put into hyping up Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago. John Cena against CM Punk. And it just felt like coming into this weekend, the Evolution show up until maybe a week ago was really being neglected. Right? There weren't a lot of people talking about it. WWE had multiple things to promote. And we all know why they, overflowed the entire weekend with content. I mean, that much is obvious. It just felt like the women's show was sort of done as a way to flood the zone, and it's like, let's just throw the women's show on this weekend. Even though we haven't done one of these in about 7 years, this is the perfect weekend to have another Evolution show. And my fear is that if this show ends up not meeting certain benchmarks that WWE set for itself, that the women might get the blame for it. The one thing that you will not be able to say, though, coming out of this show, performance-wise, is that the women did not go out there and deliver their end of the deal. If this show does not meet some of their own internal expectations for whatever reason, and I do think they ended up with about 8,000 people in the building, not as many as Saturday Night's Main Event in that same venue last night, but it was a good crowd, a live crowd, hot crowd. The women who were on this show have absolutely nothing to hang their head over, because what we just saw here with the second ever WWE Evolution show was, I would argue, the best WWE show of 2025. It's certainly in the conversation. I would go so far as to say it was the best. If you want to say Elimination Chamber, you want to rank, something else above it, I won't argue with you. But for my money, I think what we just witnessed was the best WWE show of the entire year. And any issues they may have, you certainly cannot lay that at the feet of the women that we saw here tonight. This show, in a weekend where we actually had 2 excellent shows here on back-to-back nights, we ended up being pretty spoiled. We had a main event of Rhea Ripley and Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. These 2 women were part of one of the best matches of the entire year, back at WrestleMania. Honestly, the best match of WrestleMania weekend, in my opinion, with Bianca Belair. And so I was very much looking forward to seeing what Rhea and Io could do when they had the main event all to themselves. Because how often do we get to see the Women's World Championship, or any of the women's championships, defended in the main event spot on a PLE, right? It doesn't happen very often. In fact, I'm trying to think in my head, the last time it happened may well have been when Rhea Ripley was the champion at Elimination Chamber in Perth last year against Nia Jax. So you have, in my opinion, the best in the entire company as far as like pro wrestlers. Io Sky and Gunther, I mean, I put them in the same category. They are the two best that WWE has. You put her in the ring with Rhea Ripley, show. Which is why Rhea Ripley, by the way, still cannot beat Io Sky. She came into the show unable to figure this woman out. She was unable to beat Io Sky. Tonight was going to be her night. She still cannot beat Io Sky. And the reason being, Naomi, after a loss earlier in the show, came back out to cash in her money in the bank, not on Tiffany Stratton, but on the women's world champion, Io Sky. And Naomi walks out of Evolution as the women's world champion. And with that title win, now she, moves over to Monday Night Raw because she's a SmackDown star, or she was a SmackDown star. Now, obviously, she will be on Monday Night Raw, but that was the cap-off to what was an incredible main event. It was so great. That's the reason why I almost hate the fact that it ended via cash-in the way it did, because it was so good it deserved a proper ending between Rhea and Io. And they did it that way because they didn't want to have a proper ending, because we're probably not done seeing some combination of these women in the ring together. Don't forget, we have SummerSlam coming up in 3 weeks. But that would be my only, kind of nit to pick with that main event. Man, it was going so great. I just wish we could have had a clean-cut winner between those two. But they went with the shock finish to cap off a weekend where they really were looking, I think, to make headlines. And they made headlines for some of the wrong reasons, when you think about what happened on Saturday night's main event last night. That main event was fantastic. These two women brought their A game. They were kicking each other's ass. We had, there were some crazy spots there towards the end, but they had the crowd hanging on to every near fall. It was just damn near perfect. We had Trish Stratus, 25 years in the business this year, her 25-year anniversary, brought back out, and this is an example of what I just talked about, where she was thrown on the show last week, or whatever it was, and you're going to get a women's championship match. Trish Stratus was making the rounds this week, doing publicity for the show and joking about the very same thing, like, yeah, I kind of wish we had more time to really build this up, but you know what? It is what it is. So she was in a women's championship match with Tiffany Stratton. It couldn't hold a candle to what we got in the main event. It was good. They had a good match. Those two don't have great chemistry, but they had a good championship match. Trish looked absolutely fine in this match tonight. Hasn't really lost much of a step. We had the Intercontinental Championship defended. Becky Lynch, Bayley, Lyra Valkyria. I'm going to get into that here in a minute because they opened the show. Excellent match. An excellent triple threat match involving those three women. The question now, of course, is who challenges Becky at SummerSlam? I don't see them running a three-way back. I think it should be Lyra. I think Lyra should win the championship back on that show for Becky. But they went out there and they had an excellent match. The Women's Tag Team Championships, which have felt like giant paperweights and nothing more for the longest time. And I'm not saying that in one night that changed all of that. But for titles that really have not gotten a lot of attention, they took 4 teams tonight, put them in a fatal 4-way, and they let them loose. They went out there and they had a crowd that was hanging on almost everything they did. And some of the reactions that some of these women got in this match were great. Alexa Bliss always gets great reactions, really, since she came back at the Royal Rumble. She's been getting great reactions. But the story, I think, coming out of that match, even though they didn't win, was Charlotte Flair. And I'll get into why. Because Charlotte Flair was getting reactions in this match that we have not heard Charlotte Flair getting in years. And I told you a couple months ago, whenever it was they first started teasing something with Charlotte and Alexa, I said this could be the best thing to happen to Charlotte Flair. Because there are a lot of people very uncertain about this pairing, what are they doing with these two? And I said this could potentially be the best thing that Charlotte Flair could hope for. Because it may just allow all of us in on a side of her character that we haven't been exposed to before. Plus, it gets her out of the main championship picture. And I think there's a lot of people who are just sick and tired of having her in that world title mix. And I think what you're seeing, you saw it tonight, you heard it with that crowd in Atlanta. It's bearing fruit. This pairing is starting to bear fruit. But that was an excellent match. They had a no-holds-barred match with Jade and Naomi. There was an NXT Women's Championship match as well. We saw Mariah May, Blake Monroe, call her whatever you want to. She got to show up here on this show as well, and there was a bit of a twist there at the end of that match, which has implications, by the way, for the TNA Slammiversary show next weekend. And then there was a Battle Royal. The winner getting a championship match at Clash in Paris, which is coming up on August 31st. It was a full card, 7-match full card, larger than the typical WWE PLE card that Paul Levesque likes to put together. And yet it went down as, in my opinion, the best WWE show of the year. So what does that tell you, right? Not every show has to have 4 matches, 5 matches on it. If you have the right people in the right matches. And the only thing I wish, looking back on it, is that they would have done a better job of really drumming up excitement for these matches and just showing at least that they wanted to put the bare minimum effort into some of these matches on this show, which I felt like wasn't there. And it did a disservice to the people who were on this show who were going to be left, potentially if this show didn't do well, they were going to be left bearing the responsibility for that. I think that what we saw tonight should just wipe all of that away, and Evolution should be an annual thing, especially if we're going to get shows like this. It should be an annual thing. Now, there was also some news broken on the show tonight that has nothing to do with the women, but it is important because we have a Raw show coming up tomorrow night, and we're going into SummerSlam, our second biggest show of the year. And there's been no indication of what Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion, is going to be doing on that show. We know that John Cena is defending the WWE title against Cody Rhodes, right? Cody won King of the Ring, so we already know that's going to be the main event, likely of night 2. What about Gunther? He beat Goldberg last night, sent him off on his way into retirement. They announced tonight that there is going to be a gauntlet match on Raw tomorrow night to determine the number 1 contender who goes to SummerSlam to challenge Gunther for that World Heavyweight Championship. 5 men. And in this gauntlet match will be CM Punk, Jey Uso, LA Knight, Penta, and Braun Breaker. One of those 5 men will challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam. And looking at the graphic and they're showing LA Knight, and I'm like, so is LA Knight officially on Raw now? Because it feels like LA Knight's officially on Raw now. I mean, he's been showing up on Raw anyway to attack Seth Rollins and his crew. Now he's in a number 1 contenders match for a championship that technically belongs on a brand he is not attached to. So I think they quietly moved him over to Raw, which honestly is a move that should have happened a long time ago. I think that's absolutely the right move. But I think very silently they have moved him over to the other brand. Otherwise, this doesn't really make a lot of sense. This should be a CM Punk win. If you look at who they have here in this match, this feels like an easy win for CM Punk to give him a big match.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, CM Punk is advertised for the show. What CM Punk got to be on SummerSlam? I don't think Braun Breaker needs it right now, unless they give him Money in the Bank because Seth can't be there, and you can have Braun Breaker cast in on CM Punk, and he can pin Punk without pinning Gunther, so it protects Gunther. Gunther's not taking the pin for long. Gunther can be protected regardless, and you have to be protected good Gunther. So that's what I think that's what's going to happen.
Championship match coming up at SummerSlam. It's not going to be Braun Breaker. I honestly, I wouldn't mind if they wanted to go with an LA Knight or a Penta. I'll give them an outside shot. It's pop.
Well, Penta not yet. He's not ready for no world title opportunity. It's not going to be Jey Uso again. I want to see that. We've been there, done that with Jey. They dropped the ball with that. So, I think it had to be CM Punk. Braun Breaker, no. I hope that I don't know what they're going to say about Seth Rollins' injury. If you're going to keep Money in the Bank or forfeit Money in the Bank, give it to Braun Breaker. They did tease something with Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is a future star. He's a future world champion. He's been built up very good. I have Seth Rollins forfeit the briefcase or put it on the line somehow in a ladder match and give it to Braun Breaker. That's what I would do. And have Braun Breaker to go after, have him cast in.
And I wouldn't even mind that so much. Punk is going to be the one. Breaker, it's not going to be. That leaves Jey Uso. Jey Uso is the one guy in that gauntlet match I have absolutely no interest in seeing step back into the ring with Gunther. It has been done so many times before. And we're not talking Omega Okada here, okay, where you can do it 4 or 5 times and you know it's going to be great. I have no interest in seeing Jey Uso and Gunther, so you can cross that off the list. I think we're looking at CM Punk. It does make me think that maybe the idea for SummerSlam was going to be CM Punk and Seth Rollins in a singles match. It could have been Roman Reigns, who supposedly is going to be a part of the SummerSlam card. If he's going to be a part of the SummerSlam card, he has to be back on TV this week, whether it's tomorrow night or Friday night, because they're running out of time. I mean, you can't bring him back the week before SummerSlam. That's stupid. So plans obviously are going to have to change regardless of how serious this Seth Rollins injury is. And if you've been living under a rock for the past 24 hours, just real quick, Seth Rollins suffered what appeared to be a very serious injury. We still haven't gotten an update yet. But he suffered an injury during his match with LA Knight on Saturday night's main event last night that caused the match to end prematurely and caused an audible to be called because Seth Rollins was supposedly going to win that match. LA Knight won instead. So we have no further updates yet. I suspect by tomorrow we'll know more. Even if we have to wait until Raw, they've got to give some kind of an update. But it's obviously a disaster for WWE potentially because Rollins is somebody who was so tied into these major plans and likely was going to end up with that World Heavyweight Championship, even heading in all the way to WrestleMania next year. You know, you can tell he was obviously going to be factored into some pretty serious things. Fightful is reporting that Rollins was backstage at Evolution tonight. He was on crutches, and he was sporting a giant brace on his knee. And I would not read anything into that positively or negatively as far as the status of his injury. I just read it as he was there to support his wife, who was wrestling on the show. And it's way too early for him to be undergoing all kinds of tests and shit. He's going to have an MRI done to diagnose the severity of the injury. I suspect that wouldn't even happen until tomorrow. So even he may not know what it is or how serious it is. But he was there. The fact that he was on crutches doesn't mean anything one way or the other. But we'll find out more in the next 24 hours because that is going to greatly affect the creative direction of this company for months to come. How long he is going to be out for, if he needs surgery, if he doesn't need surgery. But in the meantime, the train rolls on, right? They've got to come up with a plan B. Funny enough, Paul Heyman has been on television talking about plan B. We may have to find out very soon what plan B is. I look at SummerSlam, and then we'll move on to this. I look at SummerSlam, and I think CM Punk against Gunther is the way to go for the World Heavyweight Championship. You've got Roman Reigns. If Roman Reigns is going to be back, if the plan, let's say, was for him and Rollins to do something, and Rollins is out, instead of just not bringing him back for SummerSlam, you got 2 nights. You really should want to have a major name like him on the card. Why not do something with him and Braun Breaker? Why not do Roman Reigns against Braun Breaker one-on-one? How big would that be for Braun Breaker to be in the ring mixing it up on a big show like that with a name like Roman Reigns? So I hope if they have to go to a plan B, that would be a fine plan B. Because clearly this group was designed, probably at some point next year, for Braun Breaker to be the breakout star, to be the Batista of this group, and to go on to become, as he said on television last week, right? Headline multiple WrestleManias, win multiple championships, and be a big star. He should be mixing it up with the big stars. They don't get any bigger than Roman Reigns. This is your WWE Evolution 2025 review. I am the Solomonster. Thank you for being with me, as many of you have been this entire very busy weekend. As we wind down this Sunday, I did a 2-hour podcast earlier today. So hopefully if you haven't checked that out, you guys will
check that out either tonight or tomorrow morning. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open. You will see them popping up on your screen. There you go. We'll pause them periodically, but you don't have to blame the peacock. Michael Cole and Wade Barrett checked in from the announce desk with that first evolution. She spoke about the looking right, though, made a comeback, hit both women.
We've been traveling together for
10
years now.
So when we land in a new place, the last thing we want...
The entire landscape against the foreigners for joining me on your Sunday evenings. Wherever you may be, man. Your boy's tired. I want to get that right out to the open, man. I am fatigued. I am tired. I am operating on maybe 4 hours of sleep plus a 1 hour nap today. That was not nearly enough. I am exhausted. I did a whole day of wrestling yesterday because Tony Khan doesn't know what in moderation is. I'd love to see what he does at the bar and how many drinks he actually does have before he starts to fucking vomit. 7 hours of All In, 4.5 hours of a live stream. I had a day yesterday, bro. Then after that, I watched Saturday night's main event. And then I did a 1 hour review on Saturday night's main event today, which is up on the channel right now if you want my thoughts on Seth Rollins and Bill Goldberg and the situations that came out of Saturday night's main event last night. And now we're here. And now we're here, man. We saved the best for last. We saved what very well could be the best show of the weekend. I'm not here to compare. I'm not here to say, oh, this show was better. WWE needed... They needed something. They needed a shot in the arm. A lot of what has happened this year in the world of pro wrestling, honestly, from both WWE and AEW, has been dog shit. There's nothing compelling. There's no compelling characters. There's nothing memorable this year. And there's really nothing to get excited about. Coming off of last year, where WWE was as hot as they ever have been, AEW was as cold as they have ever been, we came into 2025 with a lot of hope and a lot of excitement coming from where we were coming from last year's major year. We haven't gotten any of that into the Rumble, into WrestleMania, into AEW's beginning of the year, and where we got into All In, the road to get to All In. A lot of it has been,
You know what?
downright miserable.
You know I want green.
That continued on Saturday with WWE. And you could look at it however you want. WWE tried to counter-program and basically drowned out AEW this weekend with 3 different shows. Great American Bash, which went head-to-head with All In. Then we got Saturday night's main event where they basically threw you a Bill Goldberg retirement. Last minute, no real build, no substance, just threw him out there in prime time to retire. And then today, we got Evolution, all taking place in the city of Atlanta, which I'm assuming Atlanta is also fatigued as well. They got a lot of pro wrestling tonight. They needed something coming out of last night's show because Bill Goldberg's retirement was a dud. Match was all right. It was as good as they could possibly get. But then they ended up cutting off his retirement speech or his little retirement thank you at the end of the show. And NBC mixed with WWE's poor time management fucked that up to embarrassing levels. And then we had the Seth Rollins injury last night, which that's going to be the biggest blow that the company has felt all year. He was a part of so many different angles and so many different stories that if his injury is legit and serious, where it's going to be he's off TV for about 6, 7, 8 months, WWE is going to have to rewrite the script, and SummerSlam is not going to be the same as we thought it was going to be. That is a major, major blow. And it's going to push WWE's creative limits to heights that we have never seen. Honestly, they have their backs against the wall just based off that one injury, and it couldn't have come at a worse time. And it's just the culmination of WWE this year. You could also look at it in a spiritual way, which I also do. This is karma coming back to WWE. I very much believe that. Karma coming back to WWE for not minding their own business. Stop with the counter-programming bullshit. Stop with the fucking blatant counter-programming where you just do nothing but embarrass yourself. Put on shows without anybody else in mind and do your own thing. You want to fucking put so much effort into counter-programming AEW, and then you get what happened on Saturday night. I feel like it's the gods basically saying, slow the fuck down. I genuinely believe that. After this weekend, they needed something. In come the ladies of WWE. WWE has been touted as the best women's division in the entire world. With the sheer number of women on that roster, the talent from top to bottom, it is very difficult to argue that statement. WWE's women's wrestling has come a very long way, man, from the days of Johnny Laurinaitis. People power! May he rot in hell. Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. None of the old administration gave a shit about women's professional wrestling. You could even say that this current administration doesn't give a shit about women's professional wrestling. They really haven't done much to enhance anything in the Paul Levesque era. We still get short matches. We got fucking intercontinental titles and United States titles and tag team titles that basically the fucking bottle cap to my beer last night that I had during All In is worth more than all three titles combined. It's still not where it needs to be. And a lot more focus needs to go into making a lot of the division better than it is now. But it can't get any worse than what we came from in the Vince McMahon era. They didn't appreciate women's wrestling at all. They never saw it as a draw. They never really found any interest in it because it was just something to entertain the men, which is it's a shitty way to look at it because wrestling is a male-dominated sport. And they just did it because they had to. To where Triple H finds it today, and some of the most talented performers in the company, male or female, come from the women's division. The women tonight were asked to do a simple thing, and that was go out there and try and right the fucking bad weekend. They did that, and they delivered above and beyond more than anybody could have ever anticipated or ever wanted from this division. They went out there and had a point to prove. They went out there, and as soon as the match that opened the show, which was the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship, Becky, Bayley, and Lyra, as soon as that bell rung, you got a sense of these ladies are going to fuck shit up tonight. They went out there as hungry as ever. They went out there as determined as ever. And from the first match all the way up until the main event, they delivered on every single thing that was advertised tonight. WWE Evolution, the sequel, because this is the first show that they've done since 2018's version. This show tonight blew the first version completely out of the water. Completely. Not even a single fucking comparison can be made about how much better this show was compared to the first one. The first one was done, and the first one was given to the WWE audience after years of wanting it, for one reason and one reason only. And that's because WWE had just begun a partnership with the Saudi Arabian government, and the women were not able to wrestle in Saudi Arabia during that time period in the beginning of that relationship. So they gave them an Evolution show on Long Island at Nassau Coliseum as a make good, as a thank you, and as a buffer to say, you might not be able to wrestle over there, but we'll give you this show over here, and it'll be 3 hours all to yourselves. Ronda Rousey also aided in getting that show off the ground as well, because Ronda Rousey was the biggest star to walk into WWE in that women's division ever. As an outsider, ever. Those are the only reasons why that show happened. And it's still underperformed. It was a disappointing show. I never went back and watched it up until last Thursday, where I watched it and I didn't even get halfway through. That's how bad I thought the show was. tonight's show blew that one out of the water. I also want to make a point here in regards to what WWE did as far as the show itself tonight. The look, the feel, the flow, the match order, and everything that came off that show in Atlanta. Evolution showed you that WWE has been operating, doing the wrong thing since Triple H has twisted and molded the pay-per-view or PLE model. Triple H has given us maximum 5 matches during his PLE era. Whether you get a Royal Rumble with 4 matches, a Elimination Chamber with 4 matches, a Backlash with 5 matches, and everything in between. WWE does not exceed 5 matches. On a rare occasion, WWE will give you a 6th match. Now, when Triple H gives you a 4-match PLE, there's a lot that goes into it. The Royal Rumble, for example, I mean, that's 2 Royal Rumble matches that take up a good 2.5 hours of the show. So sure, that's why you're buying into that show. The Elimination Chamber, same thing. Then you got a 2-night WrestleMania where you get 6 or 7 matches, and even that doesn't flow the way that it does. Backlash was 5 matches. Saudi Arabia with Night of Champions, 6 matches. WWE has been operating under the less is more motto. Quality over quantity. The thing is, the quality that WWE's putting out this year has not been quality. It's been dog shit. Creative sucks. The shows don't feel important. The shows feel very rushed and haphazardly put together. There's no importance on anything that they're doing right now. And now they're going through a major injury with Seth Rollins. That could realistically change the entire landscape of what their television shows look like going into next year's WrestleMania. Triple H needs to wake up. Triple H needs to open his fucking eyes. And Triple H needs to do what I am about to tell you right now. Evolution was a 7-match card. Did it feel too long to you? The answer is no. Did it feel like it overstayed its welcome? The answer is no. WWE could do 7 matches. They just refused to. Tonight's show was an eye-opening show that WWE needs to take and make everything else after this feel like this show tonight.
Yeah, I'm watching.
7
Yeah, I'm a fan
matches
of Walking
is
Dead.
absolutely
I seen the
doable
show.
and it's capable of going off the way that it needs to. 7 matches. And a lot of what happened tonight, there wasn't a lot coming into this show, but there's certainly going to be a lot coming out of it. 7 matches, the show flowed from top to bottom. The match order was perfect from top to bottom. They had a great open and a great close, and everything in between, it hit just the same, the way that it needed to. We weren't bombarded with fucking dozens upon dozens upon dozens of nauseating advertisements. We went from one match to a vignette and a video package to set us up for the next match. Rinse and repeat over and over again. There wasn't fucking absolutely mind-numbingly unimportant, not needed advertisements and commercials that lasted 15 fucking minutes between matches. Because you want to throw 5 matches out there and you need to fill 3.5 fucking hours of PLE time on Peacock. This is what you should do going on into every single show that is remaining this year. SummerSlam, it should have 6, 7 matches easy on each night. Clash in Paris, 7 matches easy in Paris. Perth, when they do Crown Jewel, 7 matches easy. Why are we shortening the pay-per-views via the match quality? And why are we adding all this other unneeded garbage that takes away from the show? That's what I want to know. When did we start moving away from making the premium live events not premium anymore? I understand that we're all paying a $4.99 subscription fee or a $9.99 or $11.99, whatever it is, to subscribe to Peacock. We're not paying what AEW is charging on basic pay-per-view and Amazon. We're not paying $50 per pop. But that doesn't mean you can skip on the fucking quality. That's what this show gave you tonight. I honestly felt like I was watching And I felt like I was back in the fucking time machine. I felt like I was watching an NXT Black and Gold takeover. All we were missing was Morrow's voice. It was that type of style. It was that type of production. Every single woman who was on that show tonight should sleep so good tonight.
Okay, my soulmate is... Let's go. Does not exist.
On that show tonight. I don't know if All In woke them up. I don't know if all their bad karma this weekend woke them up, but this show was absolutely a fucking pleasure to sit through 3.5 hours, and everything from the top of the card all the way to the bottom fucking nailed it in every sense of the word. This was, I know a lot of people might say that I'm crazy. I thought the Elimination Chamber was better than this show. That's just my opinion. I can't really put anything over the Chamber just because of the moment that John Cena's heel turn was in that main event segment, plus the 2 Chamber matches, which were incredible. I can't sit here and tell you it was better than the Chamber. Yes, that show went nowhere. But if you're talking about totality, you're talking about from top to bottom, flawless show, this is probably the most flawless show that WWE put on all year. That's my statement. The big takeaway for tonight, and I'm going to pat myself on the back, I got it partially correct. I partially called it. I didn't call it all the way because nobody expected the cash-in to happen in the main event. I thought it was going to be Jade, Bianca, and Naomi. I thought that was the direction. I don't know if plans changed. I don't know if WWE called an audible tonight for Naomi. I don't know if they just completely abandoned plans before the pay-per-view. I have no idea. But tonight, we got this. I said this at 11:53 a.m. for the fucking geeks who want to claim, oh, well, he predicted SummerSlam, JD from NY209. Given the nature of how WWE didn't steal the headlines away from AEW, the way that they hope to this weekend, I can absolutely see them potentially doing a Naomi cash-in tonight on Tiffany Stratton. They need something to spark discussion in a good way. That might be the trick. Now, yes, everybody thought it was going to be Tiffany Stratton because the story that we were getting was Naomi and Jade. Naomi had not once made an appearance on Monday Night Raw since winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. She showed up in the main event tonight and cashed in the briefcase. Naomi is the new WWE Women's World Heavyweight Champion. I guess that Liv Morgan injury did lead to an audible being called. I see a lot of people shitting on this, and I see a lot of people claiming that this is not the right decision, this is not the right time, this is not the right woman. For all the people that claim that I am negative and all I do is criticize and all I do is complain, all the people that are complaining about this have exposed themselves as the people that they claim I am. I don't really understand what there is to complain about. Naomi cashed in the briefcase. She won the Women's World Championship. Every woman that has held that briefcase has cashed in successfully. And it continues with Naomi. If Naomi didn't cash in to win this world title, it would have been the other world title. And you probably would have complained about that as well. There was so much discourse over Rhea Ripley winning this championship that people had convinced themselves, before the match even concluded, weeks before the match even took place, oh, Rhea Ripley's going to win the championship. Oh, Triple H is going to choose Rhea Ripley over Io Sky. Rhea Ripley doesn't deserve it. Rhea Hogan and all this other complete, nauseating fucking garbage that you see on social media because everybody operates with the fucking IQ of a pen cap. And then if Rhea didn't win, Io was going to win, and people still would have complained that Rhea should be the champion. She's the most over female in the entire division. She should be the champion. Blah, 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 blah. No matter what the outcome was, it would have led to complaining. Neither one of those women walked out as the world champion, and now all I see is complaining. Why do you find yourself complaining that Naomi, who is now away from Jade Cargill and Friday Night SmackDown, has found herself now on Monday Night Raw, who's in the midst of a heel run that is probably the best thing that she's done in her entire career? Why do you find that to be a problem? That's what I want to know. Are we not happy for Naomi? For years, all I heard about Naomi is, oh, Naomi, WWE hasn't given her her flowers. When is Naomi going to get her opportunity? When is Naomi going to win the Women's World Championship? Why not Naomi? Naomi had to leave the company and go to TNA and leave that division. Now she's back and she hasn't really done much of anything. When did you want this to happen? When did you want this to happen? Not only did Naomi win the Women's Championship and she finally got her flowers, we preserve Rhea taking a loss and Io taking a loss, and neither one of them beat each other. Why do you find that to be a problem? You don't like the narrative that Rhea can't beat Io still is going on and moving on past tonight? Because all I see is Rhea Ripley still winless against Io Sky. Now this sets up a lot that you are going to get coming up, going into SummerSlam, going into Clash in Paris. Clash in Paris has given us Stephanie Becker winning I was going to say Casino fucking Gauntlet match. I still got those long-ass matches last night. The Battle Royal, the Evolution Battle Royal. AEW would be so lucky to have her. She made the right decision, didn't she? She won the Battle Royal tonight. She's getting a championship match. She's the number one contender. She's on Raw for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. It would be a lot better to do Stephanie beating Naomi than Stephanie beating Io or Stephanie beating Rhea, isn't it? I look at that as major WrestleMania potential right there. Stephanie could win the championship, and Stephanie could go on and be the women's championship, or be the women's champion and go on and rule the division. Why do you have a problem with that? Why would anybody have a problem with that? Naomi more than likely is just going to be a placeholder. It got the job done. It got WWE the momentum that they need going into Raw. It gave them a major talking point now, which swayed all the discussion in their favor on social media. That's two things. You preserve Rhea and Io taking the pin, 3. The narrative of Rhea not beating Io is still intact, 4. You may line up now a fresh SummerSlam match for Naomi, Rhea, and Io, 5. And you keep Rhea, Stephanie, Rhea, Io on ice for now, while giving us Naomi and Stephanie at Clash in Paris, potentially, 6. And Monday Night Raw isn't really lighting the world on fire either, so Naomi cashing in and now showing up on Monday Night Raw is a breath of fresh air that women's division certainly needs. Because I said on Monday, how many women on that show? And I said this on Monday, and I'm going to repeat it again because I'm not sure if anybody listened to me and they made the appropriate changes, or I'm just fucking great at what I do. I said it on Monday, and all the OGs in the chat, please chime in and let me know that I'm factually correct. I said on Monday that the top of the card on Monday Night Raw's women's division is looking a little too babyface heavy. There's no real heels outside of Becky Lynch. So what did they do here, folks? Chat. Number 7. Naomi now is on Raw, and Monday Night Raw's women's division gets another great top-level heel. So once again, I need to reiterate and ask, why do you find this to be a problem? I don't understand why people are complaining when I just listed 7 fucking positives, all because this one decision was made. I think everybody needs to zip their fucking mouths and understand what's going on around them. You see, I watch the show with a different pair of eyes than everybody else. I don't get everything right. But everything I talk about on this show is pretty much spot on. I'm not some fucking dolt who comes on here in front of a microphone and doesn't know what they're talking about. These are things that I've already discussed previously on previous streams. So now I see it playing out, and then I start seeing people complain because their favorites didn't win. WWE made the adjustments that Monday Night Raw needed, and WWE made the adjustments in the light of Liv Morgan being injured. And they made the adjustments to save their major matches for later in the year during bigger shows that are coming up. Plus, Rhea Ripley, here's another one. You can add number 8 to that. Rhea Ripley walking into Perth as women's champion still could be on the horizon. Maybe they want her walking in to Perth as the women's world champion. So, I don't understand why everybody is bent out of shape. That Io lost, that Rhea lost, Naomi won the championship. They got a plan, and they acted accordingly. They needed something to get that momentum back in their favor, and this was the best course of action. I loved what they did tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Plus, it gets Monday Night Raw, a top-level heel in that division, and Naomi is fucking killing it. Good for her. I'm incredibly happy and incredibly proud of the work that woman has put in, because she, out of everybody on that roster, deserves her fucking flowers.
Me too. It was a great win, a great moment. I loved it.
Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Lyra Valkyria. They had one of the best women's matches, maybe in all of pro wrestling this year. Triple threat match for the IC title. On the bookend of the show, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley probably put on the best women's match of the weekend, period. This was better, in my opinion, than Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné at All in Texas. This was the best women's match of the weekend. Rhea and Io have now been a part of 2 of the best women's matches of the entire year, number 1 and number 2. Number 2 would be, depending on which one you liked more, I like a good one-on-one match. The setting of WrestleMania might swing that one in its favor, but the triple threat match at WrestleMania on night 2 to open WrestleMania night 2, and then this one, number 1 or number 2, however you put them on your list, 2 of the best women's matches of the entire year. Gee, I don't hear all the Rhea haters today. I don't hear all the Rhea. What happened to the Rhea Ripley can't wrestle crew? Where's that camp at? Where are those people? Have you guys heard that Rhea Ripley can't wrestle? Man, you guys are eerily silent tonight. What happened?
The moments that last forever.
Oh wait, hold on. There's some technical difficulties. Hold on. Something wrong with my connection. Alright.
Hide yourself under your pillows. What happened? Yeah, that's right. Shut the fuck up. The Rhea Ripley hate is forced.
It is.
Excellent main event. Battle Royal. Stephanie Vicaire. She's now the #1 contender for the Monday Night Raw Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Pretty predictable, but man, what a heartfelt moment from that woman standing in that ring tonight. She fucking killed it. Another one I'm incredibly proud of, and a huge fan of what that woman does and what that woman represents, man. That is genuine. That was great. Started a little rough, that Battle Royal, but they ended with the right winner, and they ended in a great way. Women's Tag Team Championships were on the line. That was fun. We got 4 teams in that Fatal 4-Way. We got NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown in that Fatal 4-Way, and that was very good. Jordynne Grace challenged for the NXT Women's Championship, and Mariah May, Blake Monroe, already has turned heel. Jordynne Grace clearly has not watched anything that Mariah May has done previously on TNT, TBS, and Max. She basically set herself up for her own demise. And then we had Jade Cargill versus Naomi in what I thought was a very good showing for Jade Cargill. That was probably the best one-on-one match that she's had, and that was the precursor to what we got with Naomi cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase in the main event. Also, Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship. They went 10 minutes. They had a very spirited sprint for 10 minutes, and it was exactly what it needed to be. All in all, Evolution was one of the best shows that WWE has done all year, and it may be the best show of your pro wrestling weekend. Absolutely tremendous show, and something that WWE is certainly going to be hearing a lot of from their fan base. I'm not sure if it's going to be an every year thing, but I think this show will solidly give us a third WWE Women's Evolution PLE. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on Off the Scripts. We had a great weekend.
Alright, I think I showed all the other podcasters. If you guys missed it, go back and see the other podcasters. We got Salamonster, we got Fightful Pro Wrestling, we got Good Mind Work Commentary, we got, I think the one more podcast I wanted to show you. I think his name is Just Alex. See if he's still on. Oh, he is. Alright, let's see him for a minute.
This, without question, should put to rest this notion that women can't do it as good as the men. Anybody, and I mean anybody, that dares to come up on these interwebs with a microphone, with any kind of platform, and knock these women after this show, can kiss my ass. You lose all credibility. I'm not saying you have to think it was the greatest show of all time. I'm not even saying it needs to be the best show all year for you. You could have just thought it was an okay show. But you cannot watch this show and tell me the women can't do it as good as the men. They had a big crowd. The crowd was into literally everything that they did. Every match delivered. And then you ended with a shocking finish that you're going to remember for years to come. Find me a better show that the women have done. You can't. Because there's been multiple all-women's pay-per-views throughout the day.
Alright.
Away from this weekend. What worked, what didn't work, and like we are going to see probably maybe not to the extreme of this weekend in the past, but like this is going to be the game.
Alright, let's go back to Fightful.
You beat 5 times because you keep beating them. Io seems like someone that would want to challenge herself with something new. So now that that's out of the way with, this match was incredible. This match was unbelievable. This match felt like everything that I wanted to see.
Everybody
Hold on.
should see Superman. Obviously, I thought it was pretty good. Really had fun. Loved it. It's not.
Way LA Knight got up and hit him with that quick BFT and didn't even seem too terribly happy about it. Left the ring with a disappointed look on his face that screamed audible. You know, that looked like they called to go home early there, and they definitely did because that ended with 40 minutes left in the show before Goldberg's match with Gunther. So they definitely ended.
SummerSlam. She's not part of any kind of story with anybody specific who doesn't have a match, so I think she'll factor into that show in some way, but I don't know that she will actually be.
Jordan Grace versus JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship. You know, a lot of people were looking for me to give JC Jane her flowers tonight.
Alright, come on now. Why are they going so damn slow? Apparently, I really got a bad connection where I live here. I don't know what it is. Hard for me to talk to anyone
Birmingham,
here.
Alabama, you do not like to hear those two words next to each other when it comes to a pro wrestler. When you hear Birmingham, Alabama next to a wrestler's name, you know you ain't going to see them for a long while. So Seth is going to go down there to probably get his MRI, and that will show whatever it shows. He's probably going to have surgery, and there's not going to be a brief kick.
camera out of the hands of a cameraman who was on the apron. Took the camera and hit Naomi with it. Sid hitting Jose Lothario, this was not. But I'm sure it still doesn't feel too good to get hit by a television camera. She followed by placing a trash can over Naomi and then kicking it. Naomi rolled it.
A not so shocking heel turn at the end of the match. Jordynne Grace had the early advantage here. JC catapulted her into the middle rope. Fallon Henley, behind the referee's back, choked Jordynne Grace while JC Jane distracted the referee. Blake Monroe, the former Mariah May, did not react. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe she just let it happen because it was a possible tease for what was to happen later.
Alright, we'll stop the video. Until next time, hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, thank you for all support. I made the video long enough, it's getting late. I will listen to my other podcaster friends that I know of. I'm gonna end the video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hope y'all enjoy it. My video is sponsored by my favorite podcaster. It's sponsored by PlayStation 5. I will make more. I will do a live stream on Monday Night Raw. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.